In this video, I'm going to prove to you that millennials are leading the way in home buying, Gen Z is already stepping into the market, and the idea that only boomers are buying just isn't true. All right, that might sound shocking, especially if you've been hearing over and over and over again that young people are priced out or locked out of the market. Recently on our channel, at Rifle VFX Portfolio dropped a comment that summed up the frustration perfectly. Over the last 20 years, the median age of home buyers went up by 20 years. The only people buying houses now are those that already bought a decade or more ago. It's basically a boomer house swap at this point. Wow. Okay. It's blunt. It feels real. And for many people staring down high prices, rising interest rates, and heavy student loan debt, guys, this hits home, right? So here's the twist. The latest National Association of Realtors Generational Trends Report tells a very different story. So stick with me, because once you see the numbers, this whole boomer-only house swap myth starts to crumble. All right, so who's actually buying homes? Let's break this down. According to the NAR report, Gen Z, that's going to be your 18 to 25-year-olds, that represents 3% of all the buyers. It's a pretty small number, but it's historic. This is the first time that Gen Z has actually shown up in the data. Millennials, who are age 26 to 44, that makes up 29% of all the buyers out there, making them the single largest generation that are in the market today. Generation X, 45 to 59, that's 24% of the buyers. And baby boomers and the silent generation combined, it's like 60 to 99. That's 42% combined. So here's the claim, okay? It's that the boomers are the only ones that are buying. Well, that's not true. Millennials alone are outpacing Gen X and the silent generation combined. So here's what we want to look at, all right? When you look at how millennials are buying, the story gets even more interesting. All right, so why does this myth continue to persist in social media and things like that? If millennials and Gen Z are active, why does it feel like they're absent? All right, so here's 3 reasons that kind of feed this myth, all right? Number 1, the median age is actually creeping up. All right, so median age for home buyers is now in the early 40s. But that's because older generations are actually staying in the market longer, not because younger ones have disappeared. Number 2, the affordability struggles, they are real, all right? We do have higher prices, there's higher rents, and stagnant wages make saving money a little bit harder. Number 3, there's this thing called social media echo chambers. All right, there are posts that scream, "You'll never buy a house," and all these posts are going viral. And so even when the data is actually telling a very different story, that those echo chambers are just out there 24/7 hitting us in the face. All right, but here's the kicker. Just believing this myth can cost you a chance to build equity while your peers are already doing it. Look, here's a reality. Millennials are actually the market shapers, all right? Millennials aren't just buying houses, they're shaping the way home ownership looks. 71% of younger millennials and 36% of older millennials are actually first-time buyers. 78% of younger millennials hold at least a bachelor's degree, and that's worth repeating, all right? 78% of younger millennials hold a bachelor's degree. 1 in 4 move directly out of their parents' home into home ownership. They skipped the whole renting before they owned phase, which allowed them to save more money while they were staying at home. Millennials' top concern are commute costs and job proximity. This is not a generation that's locked out. It's a generation that's redefining what it means to buy a home in today's economy. If you think Gen Z is still years away, think again, all right? They've already stepped into the game. Gen Z are early movers, right? They may only make up 3% of the market right now, but here's why that is so incredibly powerful. They are actually entering the home buying market earlier than many people expected, all right? They're choosing older, more affordable homes. They're often buying before marriage or children. This is a huge cultural shift, all right? I want you to think about this. Millennials were once written off as the forever renters, and now they lead the market. Gen Z is laying the same kind of foundation. So the real question is not if Gen Z will grow. The real question is how fast. We have some very real obstacles, okay? So the NAR report also highlights what's kind of slowing people down, all right? High rents are definitely eating away at savings, all right? Student loan debt. This is huge. 43% of younger millennials carry an average of $30,000 in student loan debt. Well, that eats into what you can afford buying a house. Credit card balances are stacking up on top of that. But there's also some misconceptions. It's like believing that you need 20% down to buy. You don't actually. Here's the silver lining. Every single one of these barriers has a workaround, and thousands of buyers are already proving it. So how do you get past these roadblocks? So I want to give you a little bit of a playbook for younger buyers, okay? So here's how millennials and Gen Z are actually making homeownership happen. All right, the first thing they're doing is they're using smart financing. FHA loans, VA, USDA loans, and down payment assistance programs can open doors with very little money down. They're leaning on support. So the report shows that 33% of younger millennials used family gifts or loans to secure down payments. 3, start small, all right? Start with a starter home. Start with a starter home. There you go, right? It's right in the words. Starter home builds equity that leads to the next step. Okay, it's like playing Monopoly. You just trade one house for the next. Number 4, get creative. You can house hack, co-buy, and multi-gen living can actually cut costs and build income. Ultimately, the key is shifting from up here, it's impossible, to, again, up here, what's my strategy? Guys, I'm Joshua Christensen with Realty One Christensen Properties, powered by R1 of New Mexico. If you like posts like this, if you like to be part of the conversation, subscribe, like, send us a comment. I will answer the comment just like we're answering Rifle today. Make sure that you click on this stuff. If you're a younger buyer, even if you're an older buyer, if you're a boomer or Gen X like me, go ahead and reach out to us. I'm happy to help you get ready to sell a house or even buy a house. Just click on any of the links within our description. We'll be happy to help you out.